And for more, we take you back out to Dallas and say hello to a man who knows the moment well. CBS Sports lead NFL analyst Tony Romo. It's a family affair always as we offer pleasantries back and forth here. But what a football game, man. I mean, we're looking at this one on the schedule. The day it comes out, we have it circled in red and it's circled in blue to end it here. What do you take away from this performance by Dallas specifically? And what does it mean to deliver to that home crowd on this day as you did many times before?
It was just a huge performance. I think we've always been like, all right, let's see what they do in the incredible tough situation. You're going against a team who's played in so many Super Bowls, never not made the AFC Championship under Mahomes, and you came out with your season on the line. Truly, Dallas, the season was on the line. I think if another loss, they're probably going to be out. And they won. And they controlled the football game in a lot of ways, which is actually gives you a little bit more hope, because now you're like, okay, we just did that to the Eagles, who are #1 in the NFC. We know this team's always playing in the AFC title game. We got the Lions next week at Detroit. If they win that game, they will be favored in every game the rest of the year. They can go on a run, and if they get in the playoffs, this is a very, very dangerous Dallas Cowboy team.
I mean, you take them one at a time, but two big ones here in the last 100 hours. They take down both the AFC and NFC reigning champions in the Eagles and now the Kansas City Chiefs. To flip to KC here for a second, Tony, because it is now seemingly a coin flip, according to our sports line projections, 46% to make the playoffs from here on out. Patrick Mahomes' play has seemingly elevated from last year, a year over. Why are the results not following?
I think the biggest thing is some of the penalties have hurt them. I mean, it really is, and some of the route running. But the other big part when I look at it schematically is just they need that guy on the outside in the 1-by-3s. In other words, if there's one receiver outside the numbers, he's got to win. And right now they're having to do all this stuff and make it work inside, and guys are running across the field and everything, and they make it work and it's good. But they're just not quite as dominant on the front four on defense to just get the pressure without pressuring. And when you pressure, you leave yourself vulnerable to the one-on-one opportunities. And when you get a team like Dallas who has CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens, they're going to win those matchups more often than not. So the combination of those two things is what I'm seeing right now as a staff. I'm going back and saying we need to figure out, is it Rice? Is it Kelsey? Who is it going to be worthy? Somebody outside the numbers who's going to get out there and just win. Because now all of a sudden that will open up the whole thing. But they're just playing so close to the vest. They have no margin for error. Now, obviously, there's no margin for error in the wins and losses. I do think both these teams are in the same situation. Kansas City will make the playoffs if they win out. Dallas will make the playoffs if they win out. Either team that has one more loss, I don't think they get in.
Yeah, it is still an uphill climb here for Dallas despite these last two victories, as the hole they dug early might be one too great, but they are operating on an elite level right now despite the situation. Let's talk personnel for a second here, because all due respect to the man wearing the much respected 88 in that city, but number 3 is doing some special things right now. What is it for Dak to have a talent like that and George Pickens that he knows in any matchup is going to be physically more dominant?
Well, you can just look out there at the safeties and be like this. All right, you've got two safeties up here, right? If he comes down and he goes back to the middle, that means the guys outside are one-on-one. They get the ball. The game's literally that simple. If these guys go like this, now I throw to the guy who has the most touchdowns at the tight end position in the league. And then it's like, and if they go like this as well, we hand the ball off. The game has gotten really simple for him, and it's making it very easy to read the field and know where to go with the football. And most of the time, like Mahomes is like, oh, the safeties went like this, and there's a single high. They're not throwing this guy the ball. And that's what I'm trying to say. They need to figure that out.
Tony Romo, I've always been of the opinion that Thanksgiving, the meal, it's better left over, so we'll let you get to that cold plate. We appreciate you. Thankful always for your thoughts here on CBS Sports HQ, pal.
Appreciate you. Thank you, guys.
A happy Thanksgiving to our crew, bringing you all the latest, and it's double duty always on this holiday week as Jim, Tony, and Tracy take the show on the road once again. A look here at your CBS Sunday slate. These games all coming your way on CBS and streaming on Paramount+. As Patrick Mahomes can only look on. We are joined now by CBS NFL analyst Emory Hunt in studio. The two-time Super Bowl champ Bryant McFadden joining the conversation as well. This is a Dallas team playing at a playoff level. This is a Kansas City team doing so as well, and this moment really projected that, Emory. The unfortunate reality, both of these teams still on the outside looking in. How has Dallas, over these last 3 weeks, elevated to a playoff level of play?
The defense has gotten better, especially up front. And when it got better up front with Quentin Williams and what he's been able to do to stabilize that defensive line, it has helped the linebacking core fly to the football. More importantly, the Marvin Overshone, who's back healthy, ready to go. And with the front seven playing its best ball, now you're stopping the run. Now you're allowing your defensive backs to have more advantageous down and distance situations, and you got the healthy return of Shuvon Ruvel back there who's also making plays, and guys are just making plays. So the defense is now holding up their end of the bargain. The offense is out there doing what the offense has done all season long, but that defensive line has started the comeback for the Dallas Cowboys this season.
Bravo, Stephen Jones. Bravo, Jerry Jones.
Yeah.
To echo Emory. Their defense, since their bye week in the 3 games, right, against the Raiders, Philly, and then tonight against Kansas City, their defense, they're allowing 22 points per ball game. That's a massive improvement in what they were allowing in the month of September and October. So to Emory's point, no question, this is solely about the defense getting the necessary stops. And they're becoming more stout as well. When you look at the Kansas City Chiefs today, they were 5 of 13 on third down. 5 of 13 on third down. They pitched 2 shutout quarters against Kansas City because they got out to a hot start. That Dak Prescott first quarter interception led to Kansas City getting off to a hot start. But then they neutralized their offense, the Dallas Cowboys defense that is, and gave their offense the extra possessions that was needed to win this ball game. So yeah, this has been all about the defense. So bravo to Steven and Jerry, because remember, they were criticized for trading Micah Parsons away. But when you look at what they turned that deal into, now, the here and now, no question, great move by them.
I will say Micah Parsons did some stuff as well in that first course of our meal here on Thanksgiving, but the way that it pivoted and now have those picks moving forward, we'll see what it looks like in the years to come, because this year, it again might be too little too late. Sportsline projections still just giving them a 22% chance of making the playoffs when you look at what's going on in the NFC North and what's going on in the NFC West. When we look at the Kansas City Chiefs, guys, if I was told that Patrick Mahomes would throw for 261 yards, 4 touchdowns, no interceptions, they scored twice on 4th and goal, I'd tell you this is a Chiefs team that probably won the football game, Mac. Where are you seeing the disconnect right now?
They can't get the necessary stops. To your point, they played well enough on the offensive side to win this ball game, but they had mental miscues. 10 penalties for 119 yards. That's not Andy Reid-like football. Then defensively, anytime Dak Prescott needed a play, he went to his 5-star wide receivers in CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens. So for the first time in quite some time, Steve Spagnuolo had an issue in terms of talent at the covering position, at the cornerback position, because it was just solely their man was beating their one-on-one matchups in the Dallas Cowboys. In critical moments, especially in the fourth quarter, when you look at Kansas City, when they scored that touchdown to go down 3, you need one stop. You need one stop. And guess what they did? Went to that old faithful slant route. And George Pickens created a move at the line of scrimmage. Voila, first down, converted. So that was the glaring issue I saw watching the Kansas City Chiefs, because like I said, we saw some moments where their offense was a bit stagnant, but they came and they fought back. When you're down 3 points, we've seen how many times they get the necessary stops, right? It didn't happen tonight, and bravo to the Dallas Cowboys because their talent lived up to the billing.
It's another loss in another one-score game, 1-5 in such games this season after winning their 17 prior. When you take a look at that and you move it forward, Emory, according to Sportsline, a 46% chance to still make the playoffs in the Kansas City Chiefs. It's Houston, it's the Chargers, it's Tennessee, it's Denver, it's Vegas. How should you feel coming off of this performance when you lick the wounds for a moment, but got to get back to work?
Well, you still trust Patrick Mahomes in the passing game. I was super impressed by how the receivers went out there and did their thing. We talk about Hollywood Brown making a big play in the back of the end zone. We talk about Xavier Worthy. Rashee Rice was out there breaking tackles, making plays. So the passing game is fine. What worries me, though, is what we saw today along the offensive line. This offensive line was banged up coming in and got even more banged up as a result of this ball game. And so now you're going to be weaker up front in the trenches. You won't be able to run the football consistently, although Pacheco coming back definitely made a difference. They had some sparks.
Houston's pass rush against the dinged-up offensive line.
That's a bad matchup.
It's a problem for everybody.
Exactly. And on the other side of the ball, it blew my mind that Cooper Beebe was out there just dominating Chris Jones. Like a lot of those big runs that Javonte Williams had in crucial situations came right down that A-gap where BB was able to wash and turn and get him up out the way consistently. So they have to get better in the trenches, more so than the offensive line, because you talked about that gauntlet they have coming up. Chargers have the ability to get pressure. Houston has the ability to get pressure. They're going to have to be able to protect Patrick Mahomes. Otherwise, they'll be in shootouts like we saw today. And a lot of times, you may just run out of ammo.
When belief meets execution, you start to get results. And that's what we've seen for the better part of a decade now from the Kansas City Chiefs. It's the seedlings of what we're seeing right now with the Dallas Cowboys. How do you put that belief into words? This is as big as the stage gets, Mac. This is the most watched window on the highest of football holidays, and you take down what has been the long-standing dynasty in the NFL. What does this moment mean to Dallas?
They could be a championship caliber team if they were to get into the playoffs. They legit could have a strong shot to hoist the sticky Lombardi if they get into the playoffs. Over the last 2 weeks, they've beaten Jalen Hurts, who won the Super Bowl last year, and then tonight, Pat Mahomes, who won the Super Bowl the year before. You look at the Super Bowl winning coaches they've beaten as well. So this is a team in terms of shoddy. They believe in their head coach and they love their head coach. So the talent that we're seeing has become more consistent. And we're not seeing the mental mishaps that we've seen in years past in terms of bad penalties, just shooting themselves in the foot. So this is what this is telling me. It feels like what I was a part of my rookie year in 2005 when our backs was against the wall going all the way back to week 11 and we had to win out. And when we hit that stride and the confidence that we displayed, we knew we were going to shake up a lot of things in the playoffs if we got in. And when we got in, the rest is history. And I see the same thing kind of circulating with the Dallas Cowboys right now. Dak Prescott is making the plays. He's not messing things up. They're not finding ways to win. I mean, to lose. They're finding ways to win. That's very, very encouraging.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. It made me go back to what we did where who has the edge. And it was crazy because we're talking about Kansas City, and we just kept coming up with Dallas Cowboys. They have the edge here. And we knew the offense was right there. And a lot of those matchups, we could have just said it's a push. They both have good receivers, good O-line or whatnot. But when they got to the defense, that defensive line, the linebackers and the Dallas Cowboys building the right way and playing their best ball now on the back end of the season, it makes for an exciting time. If they do get that 7th seed, man, you got to like some of the matchups that they have the rest of the way.
I know not the mathematical reality of this 60 minutes of football, but it had all the feelings of an elimination game. Their next one will as well. Thursday night football. Oof. It's the Cowboys. It's the Lions in Detroit. We saw both of these teams here on Thanksgiving. Emory, when you put those two teams with all that's at stake on the same football field across one another, it sort of looks like teams that are mirroring one another right now and what they do well in their points of strength. What do you see when you pit those two against one another?
I see Jared Goff's jersey on the back end of the ground a lot because we saw him take a lot of hits from Micah Parsons, which tells me their offensive line has had some issues, and Dallas is coming in with Quentin Williams so that the interior pressure opens things up for guys on the outside. So I see a game that kind of mirrors what we saw the Packers and Lions play and the Chiefs and Cowboys for that matter. So it's going to be a high-scoring game, a short point spread in my opinion. So I think that one will look a lot like what we watched today, which makes it so much fun because we are now in elimination mode once again because this will be an official playoff elimination game between Detroit and Dallas.
And if you're a Cowboys fan, you got to like your chances because what we watched today, to your point, Emory, the offensive line had issues protecting Jared Goff, and we know he is not the quarterback that can do damage working from a lot of chaos. He needs to be protected the right way. Secondly, what's the status of Amon-Ra St. Brown? Of course, J-Mo went off, had a great game, but they're better with Amon-Ra and J-Mo doing damage, and their defense has been a bit vulnerable. And when you're talking about the Dallas Cowboys offensively, I can care less who you have on the defensive side. They're going to put up points. They're going to do numbers. Javonte's running the football well. We talked about the receivers, the pass catchers. I mean, this is a team that is thriving in the right moment. November football is about two things in terms of the elements and the DNA of these teams. Either you're thriving or you're surviving. The Dallas Cowboys right now, they're thriving and they see the moment. And I think they really love this mentality of playing with our backs against the wall in this playoff format that they're currently in, because it's making them show their best hand week in and week out. So this is going to be very, very interesting. Like I said, guys, if they happen to get into the playoffs, this is not the team you want to see. Not with this high-level quarterback and these high-level pass catchers and the coaching. This is a team that really believes. They believe.
Stars will have to align for that to happen. Once again, it maybe feels a little bit different paces, but a little bit like last year's Cincinnati Bengals, where you're going to need everything to move your way in Week 18 for that to come to fruition. All they can do is keep golfing their ball, controlling what they can control, and winning those football games out in front of them. A massive one against the Detroit Lions up next. Let's assess the road ahead for the team that's only surviving right now, Mac. Again, 46% chance, Sportsline says, that Kansas City makes the playoffs. They've not been able to do it on the road this season. 4 consecutive losses on the road. They only have 2 more road matchups. They will be favored in both against the Tennessee Titans and in Week 18 against the Las Vegas Raiders. Here's a look at that schedule. When you assess it all right now, Mac, and everything that is at stake in Week 14 against the Texans, I will be the last to write the obituary on the Kansas City Chiefs dynasty, but we are on the brink of it being over. How should we feel right now moving forward with the Big Red Machine?
You shouldn't feel good. You shouldn't feel good. I don't know if the offensive line is going to be better by next week. And even if the offensive line is better, it doesn't matter. Danielle Hunter, Will Anderson Jr., they go hunt. They hunt. They got quite a few guys that can hunt. So we've seen Pat Mahomes put on his cape and do heroic-like things. But this is going to be a tall task, because the thing about this Kansas City Chiefs team, guys, no one is afraid of them anymore. No one is afraid of them anymore. It's almost like, growing up when I was a Mike Tyson fan, the very first time I saw Mike Tyson hit the canvas, it felt like everything changed in terms of his opponents. They felt like they can beat them. And that's what we're seeing right now from the Kansas City Chiefs. So this is because of how good they've been. Their schedule is not going to get easier as the season plays out. They have playoff caliber teams coming down the stretch. And most importantly, they have defenses that can hunt the quarterback, which will make things extremely difficult. I'm right there with you. I'm not saying I'm kicking dirt on Kansas City, but man, it's going to be a tough ending in terms of the teams they have to play, knowing they have no room for error.
I will say this. Yeah, I'm already on record about feeling a certain way about another AFC team that is right now charging toward the postseason.
But on wax.
Yeah, I'm about to. The Kansas City Chiefs will go 4-1 down that stretch of games that they have.
Okay.
Now, I am not going to tell you which one of those teams will beat them, but they will win 4 out of those last 5 games and find themselves with a 10-7 record. Thus, they'll get themselves in the postseason.
7 seed?
They'll get the 7 seed, which
Tiebreaker?
now tiebreaker puts them on the road. And I believe the Chiefs will have to go the long route, take the scenic route to the championship game. But they will find a way to get into the postseason, because I do think because of that schedule, the numbers look like it's going to be tough. They'll win 4 out of the next 5 games. I'm not going to tell you which one they will lose, but they will win 4 of the next 5. I have in my mind which one they will lose, but I don't want to say it right now. But I'll say they'll win 4 of the 5 games.
In this envelope, which will be opened on January 1st, 2026, is the team they will lose to. Unfortunately, they might need all 5, because when you look at the tiebreakers, those current AFC wildcard teams lost to the Jacksonville Jaguars, lost to the Los Angeles Chargers. They do have one over the Baltimore Ravens. It's a steep hill to climb here for the Kansas City Chiefs, but if anyone's going to climb, it's Andy Reid, Patrick Mahomes, and that offense. Gentlemen, thank you as always here for joining us on the holidays. We take a look at some numbers coming off of this massive win for the Dallas Cowboys. Dak continues to do it on Turkey Day. 15 career passing touchdowns, 3rd most all-time behind only Stafford and the man you saw earlier, Tony Romo.